In this episode, we'll be looking at a brand new product that's just hitting the market. It's like a condominium for plants. So if you like a living wall, this is like a living wall for your aquarium. You can move it from tank to tank or move it anywhere you want. Welcome to Stubbs Aquatics. I'm really happy to be able to present this new product, Habistax. It's a UK company that's just starting out. We'll be accepting pre-orders in the UK and in North America very soon. It's just a cool product that you can make as tall as you want or as short as you want. These actually break down into 3 different sections, and I'm going to go over everything. It's got for your substrate right in the middle, as in soil. They recommend a certain type of soil. I'm going to use a lava soil for it. And they have great instructions, easy to follow, which I really like because I'm a guy, I really hate reading a long instruction book, and it's short, it's sweet, and it's to the point. What's really good about this product is, again, you can break it down to any size. So if you got a short tank or a tall tank, what I have to decide is what tank is going to go in. See, I've got 2 tanks in mind, and they're both barb only tanks. My problem is my substrate. It's a really coarse, fine gravel, but roots have a real hard time getting down into the soil. So it's not working out. So I think this is going to be key to one of my tanks. And it's also great for those people who want to have a dirty tank but don't want the hassle of a dirty tank. That being, they don't want to have the soil at the bottom and the sand or gravel at the top in case they want to change things around. This does it all for you. This is what they recommend, and I may have tweaked it just to facilitate what I want to do, simply because I'm not going to put it in an empty tank. I'm going to put it in a full tank, which makes it a little bit different, and so you have to set it up a little bit differently. But they recommend, some extra nutrients, which you're going to put in the substrate, not the soil. A mister to keep your plants nice and moist as you're setting everything up. Some aquatic soil, which again, I'm using lava soil. Some substrate. Now, they do recommend a coarser sand than what I'm going to use, but I know it's going to work. Or gravel. And I've also got a bit of gravel that I'm going to use to fill in here and to put up top. And speaking of up top, you can see here that this is the cap for it, and it's lots of movement and area for it to breathe. So I'm going to put gravel up here, and I'm going to actually put plants up there as well. Like I said before, this is a condominium for your plants. And if you don't put the sand substrate all the way to the top, this would be a great area for fry to hide. So if you have a tank where you're breeding fish, but you have other fish in it, this would be perfect for a hiding spot for fry and let them grow up because they can't get to it. Or if you have bigger fish that try to get to the soft roots, it's protected by these. And of course, we're going to use some glue because I'm going to put a lot of anubius and a bit of buce in here. Remember, anubius don't like to be planted, so I'm going to glue them, or you could zip tie them or tie them to any of the surfaces here. That's why they're all vented. Remember to have lots of instruments. Over here, I've got some great tools, being a good set of plant tweezers, scissors. I've got lots, and of course, lots and lots of plants. Again, I'm going to put some really different type of plants in there, some that you wouldn't suspect to go in there, but I think they're going to look great. So a lot of these, or some of these are from my existing, and some I purchased for this.
So a lot of these you've propagated out of your existing tanks?
Yeah, like, these guys here, I just took cuttings and they're going to do great. It's anubius. Some I purchased, and I'm going to try some, actually some Val.
Oh, cool.
Which obviously you're going to have to remove from the media that they put it in, but I'm going to do lots of cryptocorin. Stuff you probably wouldn't think of putting in there. And well, it's all an experiment, and you get to do it. It's like art. And when I said before, this is a living wall. In this case, it's a living condominium, and I can't wait to get it going.
So what are you doing now there, Chris?
I'm
How are
going
you
to
getting
put
started?
just a little bit of sand in here. Then I'm going to fill it up with the soil.
Oh, okay.
And then cap it again with the sand.
Are you going to use root tabs in that
I
center
will.
column when you're
Not the
loading
center
the soil?
column. I'm actually going to put it in with the sand.
Oh, okay.
This is why they recommend that you have a cup, in this case a measuring cup, or a funnel to put this in here.
So you're just pouring that into that center section there?
And that's the only spot I'm putting it in.
Okay. So that's, I was going to say substrate. That would just be like doing the dirt a tank. So that would be surrounded by a substrate.
You could put dirt in here. I'm just going to use aqua soil instead.
And what do you got there, Chris?
We're going to add a little bit more sand just to the top of this. This is to prevent any of your soil or any of your nutrients from going up top.
So basically like capping a
Yeah, that's
soil base.
all we're doing is capping it. And like you suggested, take a mister, because this is really an important instrument or tool for this, setting this up. We're going to make sure the sand is nice and wet. That way it doesn't basically float up, and it locks everything in.
So that'll help it when you set this in the aquarium.
Yeah.
That doesn't all rise up as it gets wet.
Yeah, because I'm not putting this in an empty aquarium. This is going in a full aquarium. My next step is I'm going to take some of this sand and just pour it in. Just want to get a little bit in.
So that's going on the outside of that center post.
It is. My first plants are going to be my crypts, that being cryptocorin, and being that the front and this side are going to be the most visible, I'm going to concentrate my plants on here. This side and the back, I'll be really light with the plants. So before you put anything in, make sure that you get your roots nicely in here, because you want these roots to keep going and get into the sand and eventually to that substrate, as in the dirt. And that's perfect for that one. Same with this guy. Make sure we get all the root in here. Get another one on this side. You notice I'm not putting any right at the bottom, simply because I don't think I'm really going to need it. And I've got a lot of crypts in here.
You do. They'll do well though, because they'll spread like they normally grow.
Yeah, and they'll spread out and hit the others. And that's why you don't have to get them all bunched up, put them in super thick, because you might get a bit die back at first, but these guys will spread.
I think that can typically happen no matter where you're planting.
Yeah.
If you're propagating plants or planting new plants, you're still going to get some of that die back and that melting.
So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring up the sand up to this level.
What do you got there, Chris?
Well, what I haven't done yet And I want to put some Valsneria at the back, believe it or not. I've tried it in my tanks before, but the roots just couldn't take hold in all that heavy gravel I had. So I'm really hoping this will take
So
off.
they'll have access to that soil in the center there of this
Yeah.
of your little condo here.
And I'm going to put these all at the back because they grow nice and high anyways.
Yep.
So I don't have to worry about them. And there's only 3 or 4 in here anyways, so we get that out of the way. We'll put this guy right here.
So I guess it's an idea, Chris, to moisten that sand or spray it down as
Yep.
you're going.
I mean, if I used a gravel, I wouldn't have to, but you're going to want to mist your plants anyways.
Yeah. But you're using dry sand, and I don't know if you could fill this effectively if the sand was already wet.
No, it falls down in clumps and may damage the roots, and that's the last thing I want. So, I mean, you could pour a little bit of water in here if you wanted to, but I'm just going to mist as I go along.
So what's that you got there you're planting now, Chris?
You know what? They sold it. One spot just clumped it. And I think it's a wisteria. Nice and thick here. Nice roots. It's like a val. I think it's wisteria. I could be wrong.
It looks more like a stem plant, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's going to grow nice and high. And once I get more sand on there, I think it's going to fill in just perfectly. Start putting some sand in here.
So what you're doing there essentially is planting the roots, if you will.
Yeah. And I want to make sure they're doing well. And I'm just adding them slowly, or the sand slowly in here. I want to make sure they're all packed in nicely.
It's interesting. So instead of planting your plants into the substrate, you're kind of adding the substrate to the plants.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's kind of like when you see the tomatoes growing out of a bag, upside down.
Okay,
This
yeah.
is very similar to that.
Yeah. Now you can really see how this works now, as you can see the sand in between
Yep.
these openings.
And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add a couple root tabs. Just going to plunk them into the sand. And continue filling this.
So I guess you don't want to get that too full because you have other layers there that you have to plant first before adding the rest of the sand, right?
All the next levels are going to all be anubius, which can't be planted in sand because, well, they'll rot. So I'll glue them, or you can zip tie them, and then on top I'm going to put a real special plant that I've been dying to try out. That being a buce. I can't say the proper name, but
Buce philander.
I think you're right.
I heard it on a video.
They are a beautiful plant. I was lucky enough to find 2. I bought them, and I can't wait to use it on this. So this is where your artistic side may come in. This is what I have of anubius. I did buy 2 pieces, but the rest I just got from my existing stock. Some of it is, well, kind of weak, but it's going to do well on this. Yeah. And I can't wait to glue it all in here. It's going to look great. And take your tweezers for this one. Because you want to get the rhizome on here. And I don't want it in this actual shelf. I want it above it. I'm just going to hold it here for a little bit.
Well, it looks like you got your plants set
Yeah.
the way you had planned.
I've got some buce in here. Got those wedged in nicely, I think. I've got lots of anubius that has lots of room to grow. The whole idea is that this expands and grows and spreads, and there's lots of room for that.
So I've noticed you don't have any sand in that section.
No, I don't want them getting choked off, so no sand.
Okay. And what did you just do here?
Right here, I'm about to cap this.
And that's the cap.
That's the cap that's going to go on. And just lock it in place.
So it just locks in the way the rest of the sections lock together.
Yep, that's it. The next step I want to take is I want to put gravel in this section here, just to help stabilize it.
That'll weight it down when you put it in the tank?
Yep. And it'll match actually with the gravel that I have in there, or pretty close to it.
Oh, so you're doing a little bit of planting right in the very top?
Yeah, I figure, you know what? I'm going to put a little bit of stem plants in here just to see what happens.
That looks like bacopa.
It is, and there's a little couple sprigs of Ludwigia, and see if it takes off. I find that a lot of my Ludwigia and bacopa, especially bacopa, will get lanky, so it's going to be right at the top. So why not?
Yeah. And it actually it loves growing out of the water.
Well, I'm going to show you how well it does out of the water.
And that's your last plants to put in. What do you got there?
This is actually Java fern.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just putting a bit of gravel because it doesn't want to be in substrate. And we'll see if it takes off. If it does, great. If not, it's just a couple little sprigs. Because Java fern and I have a love-hate relationship. I love it. It hates me.
So what tank do you plan on putting this condo in, Chris?
I really struggled which one to put it in. Whether I put it in with these guys, which I love, but they don't seem to love plants that much. I think there's a bristlenose that thinks plants are salads, so I'm going to stay away from that tank, and I'm going to put it in this one. This is one of my favorite tanks. It's got lots of Odessas in here, some gold barbs, even some melon barbs. But I think if I put it in here, right beside, it'll actually attract the plants to grow right on that piece of driftwood.
Looks like you've already cleared out a spot for it.
Well, it was already cleared. And you can see how well anubius does in this. It's just a shame how the crypts, as in cryptocorin, don't do well. It's just because of this gravel. You can see there's substrate in there, as in dirt. They just can't get to it. So this is why this a particular product is going to do well in this tank. Sure, you know, it may be better to be able to put it in corners, but I want to put it right in the middle. I think it's going to look cool.
I think that would be great. And like you say, you know what, those plants might just eventually latch onto that,
I think
that
they
wood
will.
you have in there. It'll look fantastic. Shall we try it and see how we make out?
And you never know. With all the plants that are in here and these fish, who knows? They could breed. I tend to breed them outside, but if they bred, I've left a gap at the top where I have all my anubius and buce that I put them right in the holder for them. So there's no sand there. They'll do
So it's
fine.
a great spot for them to sneak into and hide.
Yeah, perfect.
I guess it'd be great for live bearers too.
Excellent for live bears. Probably even better.
What do you got there, Chris?
Well, this is my plant condo going in my tank right now.
And who's putting it in there?
Someone who's taller and got longer arms.
Let's see. May not be too easy.
We'll get it.
Take it slowly. I can already see some sand floating a bit, but good idea of spraying it down.
Yeah. This is going in really well.
I want to go over some of the great benefits of having Habistax in your aquarium. One, it takes away the need to have a dirted tank because it's all in the stacks. So if you don't want to deal with this fuss and muss like this, it's there. Or if you have already had it set up in an aquarium like mine, it's easy. And well, it looks great. It looks natural, and it's going to fill in. It's going to join this existing log that's in there, which I can't wait to see. But some of the other great benefits is it helps with the nitrogen cycle. It reduces ammonia. It reduces the need for you to do water changes. And that's a big one for me. There's so many benefits. I mean, the view of this from any angle is great because it's, well, you take a look at this at a 360, there's no bad side. And it's adjustable. You can't get much better than that. And for those of you who love breeding fish and have smaller aquariums, this is great because you can move it from tank to tank. It just gives you so many options. And finally, Habistax has an easy to follow instructional manual. You can't miss it up. It even comes with lots of great pictures for people like me.
So what do you think? I mean, it's made a huge change in this aquarium. I mean, I've always loved this tank. It's 100 gallons. I had a big center feature here, but it was missing something. I think this filled the void. What do you think?
You asking me or your viewers?
I'm asking you.
I do think it filled, there was an empty space there and it's filled it. And I'm looking forward to seeing the plants grow. And it's just going to look like another piece of driftwood that you have there, that big stump, but covered in foliage. I think it's going to look phenomenal.
I think it's going to expand onto this big stump, and it's going to be a great feature in this aquarium.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an old 100-gallon aquarium, and I think by moving this, my other plants are going to do even better in here.
Yeah, well, you cleaned up a little bit in the front there too.
Yeah, a little bit more light there, but this is going to fill it in, and it's going to really help clean the aquarium. Now, I just turned on the filters and I stirred everything up, so it's not as clear as I'd like it to be. It's really filled in this area.
Yeah.
The crypts are going to do amazing here. I did sneak a couple sword plants on the sides, whether they take or not, because they were just babies and not a lot of root, but time will tell. And the anubius should grow like crazy in here.
Oh, I think it's going to love it.
And all these Odessas.
But to me, like, I'm still fairly new to the aquarium hobby. I did it when I was a kid, but I'm still kind of new to it. And I've been watching a lot of videos and the aquascaping and the whole bit. I like doing what pleases me, and I think you nailed it.
Yeah, with Habistax, I think they got it right. It's, like we said, it's a condominium for plants. And it's just going to grow and grow and expand. It's going to be a living wall through this whole area.
Oh yeah, can you imagine if you had 3 or 4 of them across the back? You'd just be like green right across the back of your tank.
It'd be heaven for fish, and especially if you wanted to breed fish, or you had live bears and you left some of that open, like I did, so fry could go in there.
Oh, definitely.
So if I had cribenzas in this tank or any dwarf cichlid, they'd be in heaven there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to thank Dave from Habistax for sending me this great product. I love it. I highly recommend it. They will be going into North America soon, but they're currently taking orders in the UK. I will put the links for it. Make sure you check them out. Great product, great company. It's a new startup company. You must get in while the getting's good. Well, thanks again for watching at Stubbs Aquatics. I do appreciate it. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. Think about subscribing and hit that notification bell. Don't forget to check out the links for Habistax. I love it and recommend it.